Welcome to The Explainer. Usually we're digging into articles or reports, but today we're doing something a little different. We're going to deconstruct one single song to really understand the world it portrays, the structure it reveals, and the reality it describes.
So why this particular song, you ask? Well, it's because the artist, a guy who goes by El Macabelico, has been hit with some really serious public accusations. And that's kind of the backdrop for everything we're about to get into.
And we're not talking about subtle criticism here. No way. This is a direct quote from a public denouncement, and it is about as blunt as it gets, leveling one of the most severe accusations you possibly can against someone.
So what they're saying is that this guy, El Macabelico, isn't just a singer who tells stories about crime. The accusation is that he's actually part of it, an active participant, they claim, involved with a specific criminal organization, the Cartel del Noreste.
Which brings us to the big question, right? What does his music actually say? To figure that out, we're going to treat one of his songs, Los Memitos V1, almost like a primary source document. We're going to dive right into the lyrics and see what they reveal about the group this song is celebrating.
All right, so the song's named for a group called Los Memitos. We're going to look at the chorus first, because it's essentially their mission statement. It establishes exactly who they are and what they do.
And boom, right out of the gate, the lyrics define the group's function. They're a constant patrol force on standby around the clock, just waiting for direction from El Mando, the command. Their territory, their plaza, is a place called Necta Lima.
Okay, so we know what they do. But how do they do it? The first verse really gets into the nitty-gritty. It lays out what seems to be their standard operating procedure in pretty remarkable detail.
You can basically boil their entire operational cycle down to 4 simple steps. First, they wait for the call. They're on standby. Second, when the call comes, they arrive instantly, in the minimum moment, as the song says. Third, and this is crucial, they obey without question. And fourth, they're back to patrolling the streets. It's a whole process defined by speed and absolute obedience.
And this right here, this is maybe the most important line in the whole song. This is the core of their code of conduct. It's a declaration of absolute loyalty and immediate action. You get an order, you follow it. Period. Questioning it just isn't part of the process.
But the song doesn't just stop with what they do. It also tells us who's in charge. It's kind of wild, but through a bunch of shout-outs, the lyrics actually map out a whole org chart. Let's take a look at how this thing is built. So, check this out. When you map the names to the titles given in the song, a really clear power structure just emerges. Right at the very top, the lyrics name the creador, or creator, Memito el original. Below him, you have the mandos, the high-level commanders like Padilla and El Gato. Then come the comandantes, the field commanders. And finally, they even mention a specific encargado, a person in charge named Ivana. It's all just laid out there.
All right, so we've covered operations and the chain of command. The final verses of the song kind of shift gears. The focus moves to the group's internal culture. This section is all about loyalty and acknowledging members no matter their circumstances.
And this line is just incredibly telling. The song talks about prison like it's a revolving door. It's not a deterrent, it's not a failure, it's just a temporary, expected part of the job. It's just doing time before you get right back to business.
Then, a huge chunk of the song turns into a roll call. Seriously. First, it shouts out all the active members on the street by their nicknames. But this isn't just a list. It's like a public affirmation of who's in the crew, reinforcing that group bond. It even gives a nod to the next generation, Los Juniors.
But the roll call doesn't stop with the people on the street. It extends to members in prison, even naming the specific module, Modulo 7. And it pays tribute to those who have died, including 2 commanders. It shows this idea of loyalty that goes beyond prison walls and even beyond death itself.
So when you put all these pieces together, it becomes pretty clear this song is far more than just entertainment. It functions almost like an internal document that's been made public. It details their tactics, it solidifies their chain of command, and it serves as a public roster for the entire group.
So, okay, we've broken down what the lyrics are saying. We can see exactly what the music says. But that leaves us with the bigger question. Why say all this so openly? Is this song propaganda meant to intimidate rivals? Is it a tribute to comrades? Or is it, in its own way, a public confession? The lyrics lay out a detailed reality. And what you're supposed to make of that? Well, that's left for you to decide.